Good afternoon. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to the Delray Beach Chamber of Commerce weekly webinar. Today, we're going to be doing the third part in our series, How to Make the Most of Your Chamber Membership. And I'm super excited to invite on, even though they're staff, I quite like referring to them as panelists because for the hour they are. We're going to bring on Lynn and Stephanie here from the Chamber. And while we wait for them to join, I would like to let you know that these webinars are recorded and they are posted to the Chamber website, to Facebook, and to YouTube. So you can always revisit these if you have to leave early or you popped on a little bit late. They are at your disposal to rewatch and rewatch and rewatch again. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Lynn. Welcome. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. The topic of today is get them talking about you. So what does that mean? Let's see. So we're going to talk a little bit about basically what your options are in regards to getting other members talking about you, to get your name out there, and to make sure that people know that you're here, people know that you're involved. And some of the ways that you're going to be able to do that today are sponsorships, by being a hosting partner, by joining a committee, or by participating in doing a website advertisement. So we're going to divulge into these a little bit. We have Stephanie here today to talk about sponsorships. I'll tackle hosting partners, and Lynn is going to do committees, and then we'll circle it back to Stephanie because who doesn't like hearing her chat? I know I do. All right. So right now we're going to talk about sponsorship. Stephanie, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today, and I hope you're enjoying this series. We did it because when we were doing the new member orientations, we had to pile so many things in an hour and a half long, 90-minute overview that we decided, let's space this out so people can digest it, like you said before, and understand all the ways that you can participate in the chamber. So one of the main reasons people join the chamber, obviously, is for visibility. And there are lots of ways to get your message across and get your branding across. So what I'm going to talk about today are sponsorship opportunities. So there are tons of ways to get involved in sponsorships at the chamber. And the reason that you do that, there are lots of reasons, and we'll probably talk about that later, but it's just to get your name out there, to get your message out there, for visibility, for generating goodwill. There's so many reasons that you'll want to get your name and your brand and your personality in front of some people. So I'm going to go through some of the options that we have, and then we'll talk about how it benefits you and what some of the tangible benefits are. So we've got monthly programs that you've probably heard of, month in and month out. There would be Business and Bagels, Contacts and Cocktails, and we have the First Friday Forum. That's a Government Affairs and Economic Development First Friday Forum. So there are annual sponsorships available for these, and that means you'll get in front of people every single month with your message and your brand. For instance, the First Friday Forum we have a sponsor for that, and it's Florida Power and Light. So every time we have a First Friday Forum meeting, Florida Power and Light gets the visibility. They get to be in front of people. Their logo goes on all of our digital assets that go out. They get posts on social media. So there are a lot of ways for all your sponsorship opportunities to get your brand in front of people. We have special appearances, which we'll talk a little bit more about via this Lunch and Learn webinar series that we've started during the pandemic, but we're going to continue because we have so much content from so many of our members that want to get their messages out there and give people something to learn. Well, I think I did the Dancing Lion yoga meditative mindfulness the other day, and it's something I absolutely needed. But then the very following week, we had the National Leadership Institute talking about corporate governments. So there is literally something for everybody there. So making a special appearance on Lunch and Learn webinars or our morning show, Delray Morning Live, which is on Wednesday mornings. It's a Facebook Live show. You can also make a special appearance on that. We have roundtables, and during the pandemic, we realized that people in different vertical markets really enjoyed connecting with each other and learning from each other and helping each other. So in addition to the ones that we had, we instituted quite a few more. So we have a tourism roundtable that meets every couple of months. We have the Nonprofit Council, which I think is meeting every month. The Restaurant Roundtable just started. That's hosted by John Brewer from the Socially Distant Supper Club. We had the Health and Wellness Council very first meeting today at Inspired Living, the best breakfast I've chamber breakfast I've ever had. It was awesome. And we have the Young Professional Association of Delray, YPAD. So that's a group that meets every month. Those are all available to sponsor, obviously. And we have our special events. Some of the special events that we've been having during the pandemic have been virtual, and they've seen a lot of residual viewership. So some of the special events that we do in person where it makes sense, we're also going to film. So they'll still get the residual viewership, even if it's an in-person event. So some of the special events we do are Focus on Women. I think that picture is probably from a Focus on Women event. We're going to have a county legislative lunch. So we're going to get to meet our county commissioners and some of the mayors from the cities surrounding us. Our tourism summit, we're going to be featuring Visit Florida CEO is coming in, and the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association CEO is also going to zoom in. So that's coming up soon. Our media lunch, we decided, I think we're going to do it in person a little later in the year, and we'll hear from people from TV, from digital, from PR firms. We had a healthcare symposium last year that was very well received. And our legislative lunch, if you've never been to that, we get to meet our state legislators. We actually had it in person in November, and 7 out of our 8 state legislators in this whole area from Boca to Delray to Lake Worth to Lantana all came and were able to talk about their legislative priorities. We have our annual, what used to be the gala, which is now a much more casual party in paradise that we have once a year, which we'll get to have in person this year, probably in October or November. We always have a candidates forum whenever there's an election coming up. And of course, we always have our holiday party. So these are all the special events that we have that you can be a part of. So some of the things that that you get out of this, if you're a sponsor, is obviously it's visibility. So for our online events, as I mentioned, you'll get residual viewership over and over again. Your logo will be on all the digital assets. So when we had our e-blasts that go out twice a week, the chamber events will be there. And if you've hosted or you're going to be a sponsor of this event, your logo is going to be on that every time. There'll be also clickable links on the website. We'll do social media, dedicated social media posts for you. And of course, you have the ability to speak to the audience, or like we did this morning at Inspire Living, take a tour of the establishment. And a lot of the in-person events, I think I mentioned, we're going to start filming too, because we've noticed during the pandemic, we have so much viewership, say for Delray Morning Live. If it's a Facebook sponsored post, we'll get viewership of up to 4,000 people. So it depends on what your goal is for sponsorship, but there's ways, and there are different ways to do it that should suffice for any of the goals that you have, I would think. So I think, did you have some, I know we have some questions coming through, Angel. Did you have some questions for me for this?
Of course I have questions for you. We always have questions here on our weekly webinars. So I just want to go back a little bit. You talked about FP&L being a sponsor for the Government Affairs First Friday Forum that happens every week. And I know that I have seen them come on and give a little chat. They get about 2 to 5 minutes of platform speaking time. So does that mean if I'm a sponsor of something that I get to talk about my company, or maybe about something that my company is doing?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we try to tailor the sponsorship to the audience. So for example, Effective TV, always wanted to be associated with things that have to do with elections or legislative things to come up. So they've always been a sponsor of that. Florida Power and Light really cares about economic development and government affairs. And so they wanted to be involved with that. So any of the things we do, especially with the roundtables that are vertically integrated, there's a way to get your target audience. And that's one of the main things that you need to think about when you're thinking of a sponsorship, is like, what is my target audience? What is my goal? And that's why we have a consultative relationship with our members and our sponsors to find out what your goals are and what makes the most sense for you. Do you want a mass audience that we have for, say for Delray Affair or something like that? Do you need thousands of people, eyeballs on something? Then that would make sense for you. Or do you really want to talk to the people that are in the health and wellness area? If that's your audience, then talk to them, or the real estate market. So we consult with you to make sure it's a good fit. We want it to be a win-win.
Oh, absolutely. And so I heard a word there, tailoring. So that kind of brings another question to mind. And I see there was a bunch of numbers attached to those events, starting from 500 to 1500. And I really want to sponsor, but I don't know if I saw something exactly within my budget. I'm a small business. Is there a way for me to still sponsor? Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, we can work with you on it. So we obviously have a guide or a spec sheet of what the benefits are for doing that. But if you want to come in at a lower level, we're happy to tailor it for you. So maybe you'll be a sponsor and we'll just put the logo on, and you won't be speaking, or we'll just do one post for you instead of other things. But there's a way to get your message out there and be associated with with a program that you like or want to be associated with. I mean, we'll work with you. It's for everyone's benefit. That's why we do it.
Oh, that's absolutely great. That's so comforting to hear because especially right now, when businesses aren't bringing in maybe what they're used to bringing in, but they still want that visibility, they still want that involvement. It's really nice to hear that there's almost a plan or a way for them to be able to do that moving forward. So for some of our other, I would say do-gooders or just community pillars, sponsorships are great, but I really just want to give back and donate. I don't know that I need my logo on anything. I just want to help the chamber. Am I allowed to do that? Am I allowed to just send a check your way?
Well, we'll take it for sure because we're a nonprofit, as you know, the chamber is a nonprofit. But you know what? It's funny that you say that because, especially during the pandemic, we did have some businesses that were doing okay and they wanted to know how to help, which I thought was amazing. And so the team got together and came up with a program. It's called the Giving Tree. So, and you're able to just to go in and click a button online and donate. And that way you were able to actually help other chamber members who were struggling. We kept saying that, especially in the beginning, we want to keep people tethered to the chamber. We want to keep them as part of the chamber family because we know we'll be able to help in the long run. Even if you're closed now, you need to stay within this community. So your other chamber members and other community members actually donated to help pay for, say, a third of the year of someone's chamber membership until they could get back on their feet and continue to pay. Or we had monthly payment plans too if someone absolutely needed some help. But we really wanted to keep people as part of the family. So some of the members that did great just wanted to donate and just wanted to help. And there's a button for that, and it's on DelraryBeach.com. Click donate, and that's what the Giving Tree donations go to.
So there's a button with a little tree that kind of mocks or mimics what's in our office. We have a giant tree on the wall. So I'm sure that this is anonymous because of course we don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I do see names on that wall. What is that?
Oh, well, please come visit us at the chamber. I know Lynn loves having visitors. So yeah, we're open for business. So if you want to come visit us, you can see it. We put the names on the wall of people who actually donated. So I think most of the staff's names are on the wall. So the names on the wall are the people who donated money for people who needed help. The people that needed help, that's completely anonymous and confidential, and we wouldn't let anyone know that. But the people who donated, we definitely recognize, and you can come in and see that. People ask about it whenever they come in.
I know it's a huge tree, guys. It's from the floor to the ceiling. And I remember when they were doing it, we were just like, how are they going to do that? But
Yeah, every leaf has somebody's name on it who donated to help their fellow chamber members. That was kind of nice.
If you guys know Lynn, she got up there on a really tall ladder and she just made it work. And we're glad she didn't fall down. But know that your leaf can go up there and you can always kind of come by and take a look at it. It's a nice feel good moment for yourself. Not that you need it, because giving back is definitely all that you need in that circumstance. So circling back, Stephanie, let's talk a little bit again about sponsorships. I want to sponsor, but I don't know what would be best for me. I saw so many things there. I mean, how do I know which one to choose?
Right. That's a really good point. And that's why we look at a sponsorship opportunity as a consultation, really, because it depends on what your goals are. Is your goal to be visible in the community? Is your goal clicks on a website? Is your goal social media engagement? Is it just having a presence? Is your goal building relationships? That it really depends. So if your goal is building relationships, then sponsoring a roundtable is probably a good way to do it because you meet every month, you see roughly the same people, you help each other. That would make sense for something like that. If you need clicks to your website, then probably doing one of our online symposiums like the Tourism Summit or something like that. That's what you'd want to see because they'll get a ton of viewers viewership like we did for our annual meeting earlier this year, where we had the CEO of the Florida Chamber on, the head of the Business Development Board was on. That got a ton of viewership. So if it's something like that that you want, and it's viewership and eyeballs, business people, then that's great. If it's the mass market that you want to reach, then one of the larger events that we do, like the public events, that would make sense. So it really depends on what you're looking for. And that's a first question that I ask.
Wonderful. And then, so I didn't see it on our slide, so I just want to touch base on it a little bit. I know that I've seen in the past I guess what's called a program sponsor. Can you talk a little bit about that? Is there a bigger sponsorship than what was listed on the screen?
So you mean for a monthly sponsorship for one of our annual
So
programs?
more so for like a yearly sponsorship, like something like Center State Bank has done.
Oh, right, of course. So Center State Bank, you will see them at the bottom of every single e-blast that goes out every single week, week in and week out. We do 2 e-blasts a week, and they're a blanket sponsor overall for our programming, or say Crane's Beach House is a blanket sponsor for our marketing, and that really underwrites what we do, and that enables us to boost some of our social media as well if we have a marketing sponsor, and that just gets more visibility out for everybody involved, including those sponsors. They also have, and we'll talk about that later, they also have, as part of that package, an ad on our website. So delraybeach.com is our website, the biggest SEO, as you can imagine. So that goes along with the annual sponsorships. So those are available, and they're very worthwhile.
I mean, Center State has done it year after year, so I think that says something about the program.
Yeah, the fact that they keep doing it every year, I think that works for them.
All right. So while of course I'm super happy to support the chamber, that's, of course I want to do that. I'm a member here, I'm a part of it. Let's talk about what I'm really concerned about. And it's a question I think sometimes people don't know how to answer, but I'm hoping you can. Let's talk about return on investment. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Can you give me a definition of what that might look like?
Well, again, that depends on your goal. Is it visibility? Is it clicks? Is it social media engagement? But when you talk about that, you really have to be active. So you get out of it what you put into it. I know people hate hearing that, but if your goals are social media engagement, then when we post your social media posts, then you need to engage with that, and you need to answer or ask questions, and then you need to repost it other places. So that is the best way that you can do that, especially, or if you sponsor a webinar, then send that out to your audience as well, because it goes exponentially out. So you have to be active in your own sponsorship to make it worthwhile. Some of the best sponsors I've ever worked with were so active in that way, and it really worked for them. So just putting a logo on something will help your visibility, but if you want more engagement, then that's where you come in, and you have to do that. We'll give you the platform to do it. We've got a great Instagram following, we have great Facebook following, but you have to engage with that to make it work, and make it work exponentially.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of times people have, come to an event or something where one of our larger companies or even our smaller companies has sponsored, and they said, "Oh my gosh, I got to go back there." And then they said, "I went there afterwards for dinner," or "I went there the following weekend, 3 weekends in a row because I had family in town." So it really is kind of a be there, be present, and be seen. That's what we want you to do. So that's why we're talking about this today. So speaking of, Stephanie, I hate to kick you off the platform, but this kind of ties into my next topic a little bit. So we're going to talk about being a hosting partner. So let me go ahead and get this up on the screen. All right. So what is a hosting partner? I'm going to go back a little bit to the back of these. So you see all these events that are listed here on the screen. Our special events like Focus on Women, Legislative Lunch, Media Lunch, Party in Paradise, Candidates Forum. And we're going to go back even to our monthly programs, our Business and Bagels, our Contacts and Cocktails, our First Friday Forum. That's currently virtual, so we don't got to worry about that one. But even Delray Morning Live, all of these are events that need to be hosted. So we have, I mean, as you can see, a plethora of events that need a venue. And what does that mean to be a hosting partner? In its own form, it is a sponsorship. It's an in-kind sponsorship. Your name, your company, your slogan, it gets cross-promoted in all of everything else that we do. So whether we have you appear on Delray Morning Live as a thank you for hosting Contacts and Cocktails, much like the Courtyard by Marriott is going to be doing, or we do a special promotional blast for perhaps the Aloft, who's hosted our legislative lunch before. It is something that we love to cross promote. And again, we call it mostly an in-kind sponsorship. So as a hosting partner, We usually need a couple of things from you. So it's either the venue, mostly the venue. And then, of course, sometimes we ask that you donate something else. So whether it's food or the drinks, because we are bringing people in, and the events prior to COVID, I mean, could bring anywhere up to 100 people. Now we're typically limiting them to under 40. So that number has been pretty consistent, at least until, we move forward into the rest of the year. But we always need hosting partners. The chamber space itself is not large enough to host most of these events, nor is it equipped. So we welcome you to come in and do that. And that, again, makes you be seen. It brings people into your business. It makes them want to go back if they have a really great experience there, which I don't think I've ever had any of our guests or our attendees leave from an event and say, oh, I didn't like that place. They always have something positive, whether it's the beautiful pool or the really cool ambiance of Death or Glory, or even we've hosted at Posh Properties, and Posh Properties is just a really neat inside place. So it's something that might behoove you, and if you're not so much interested in putting a sponsorship behind a particular event, consider hosting us there for that event. So I'm going to bring Stephanie back on, just because I don't want to ask myself some questions that might seem a little bit strange. So let's see. Actually, I might get stuck here asking myself questions.
No, I got you.
I was ready. I was ready to talk to myself.
No, you're good. Well, no, I like that you mentioned the cross promotional value. Say for this month alone, for instance, you'll hear from probably Tessa Hodges at Courtyard by Marriott on Delray Morning Live tomorrow, because they're hosting Contacts and Cocktails on Thursday. Or next week, I think Delray Morning Live are going to be working with Sunday House, because they're hosting the YPAD event later in the month. And you probably heard from Damon Thomas from Inspired Living, because they hosted the Health and Wellness Council today for the first time. So we put them on Delray Morning Live, obviously, to talk about the event that's coming up, but also their business. And so he did tours of their business today, and it's absolutely amazing. So, if you talk to other sponsors, and we're happy to put you in touch with them, they can let you know what the benefit was for them, because they come back, as you mentioned before, which is good.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
how if you're interested in hosting something, how do you go about doing that?
Oh, so that's simple. You can actually reach out to me at angelicav@delraybeach.com. You can find that email on the website, or I know a lot of you actually already have that email, because we tend to talk back and forth. But if you just reach out to me, we can find out what event is good for you to host, or something that you might like to bring people in. I love to chat with you and kind of find out, again, what your target might be. And we can choose, because we have morning events, we have evening events, we do lunchtime events. There is something for everybody. So just reach out to me, and we'll definitely make sure that we find something that fits for you perfectly.
Well, how far in advance do you suggest they reach out to you?
So this question gives me a lot of anxiety. It's good anxiety, because it's a good thing, but it also is a tough thing to report to people. We actually start booking for these events in the fall of the previous year. So for 2021, everything started, getting booked in October, because we really need to make sure that we have locations secured, and so that we're not scrambling. And also, so it gives us proper time to promote. We want to make sure that we are promoting to our members where these events are going to be at, and make sure that you are getting the proper face time that you need. So just by being a year in advance prepared, that really helps us to do that and to be on a schedule. So I can definitely chat with you about what we have coming up, but it's really important that if it's something that you want to do, you let me know, and just know that we might be booked up.
Yeah. If you're on a specific timetable, or you have something you want to promote or showcase, the sooner the better that you let us know. But we can also, we'll also try to do our best to help you. Like, for instance, the Chairman's Club, we've been doing some VIP events for them as things have been coming up, as we started to meet in person again. So we'll be able to do a VIP event for the Delray Beach Market right before it opens, or be able to do a hard hat tour of, like we did with the Call Your Car Club, or other things. So if you want to get in front of the Chairman's Club audience, that might be a way to do it, because we can do that as things become open. If it's their special VIP scenario, then we'll make it available and send that invitation out. So that's another way you can do it with the Chairman's Club.
So you're using the word VIP, Stephanie. Can you tell me a little bit more about who the Chairman's Club members are?
Yeah, that's our highest level of membership. And whenever they meet, the they get an opportunity usually to meet some of our leaders, our government leaders, not only in the city, but the county. Some county commissioners show up, city commissioners show up. So it's a good way when we've been meeting in person to be able to get to know some of the decision makers and the movers and shakers, not only in the business community, but also in local government. And they all get always get special previews or special access. So Art Hogan is a business pundit on, I think, on CNBC. He flies down here. He's going to be here next week, as a matter of fact, and he flies down here from time to time. And when he's here, the Chairman's Club always gets a chance to meet with him and hear about what's going on in the market. What do they see happening? What trends are happening? So we've got a lot of special opportunities that we don't necessarily put on the website or anywhere. You won't hear from that all the time for the Chairman's Club members. So if you want to get in front of your city, county commissioners, sheriff's department, other members at that level, then Chairman's Club might be a good option for you.
Wonderful. And then before I let you ask me the next question, because I think you have one or two more, I just want to make a note that I do keep a waiting list. So if you are really interested in something, and unfortunately I had to say we're booked out all the way through December, but you are still interested, please let me know. I will retain that information. And should a venue be unable to host, we will reach out to you to fill that spot.
Well, that makes me think of one last thing I wanted to ask you in terms of the venue and the size of venue. Does it depend on any particular event that you're doing, or what options are there basically depending on the size of venue you have?
So that's a great question, because as I'm sure some of you know, if you've been around Delray and you've been out on the Ave, some locations are teeny tiny and really intimate and adorable. And then some are just huge where it's like, oh my goodness, we'll never be able to fill that space. So with COVID right now, we've encountered something where most venues, regardless of their space, they are limiting their foot traffic to a certain number of people. So we're definitely happy to work with that on our end. What we're doing for these events is we are limiting registration, and we are, capping it at a certain number. And once it's capped, that's it. We can't allow any more. We've been able to do that pretty successfully, and we're very happy with how that's going. So if you have a specific number in mind that you want, I am so happy to sit down and talk with you about what options we have as far as events. Some events by nature just draw more people, and some are a smaller, more connected event in a certain sense. So I'm happy to sit down and kind of discuss with you which one might be best, not only for your space, but again, for your target audience and the time frame of day. I know that sounds a little silly, but really the time frame of day, morning or evening, it tends to bring out a different crowd of people, because just based on their work schedule, some people can't get there in the morning, but they can be there every single 5 p.m. for contacts and cocktails, and vice versa. And the same thing applies for the bigger events. We can really sit down and talk about who we're expecting to walk through those doors. And I'm even happy to review with you the turnout of our last 3 events of that situation. We got to be a little bit cognizant of the fact that during COVID, those numbers are not exactly the same as what they might have once been, or exactly as reliable as they've once been. But it is a good way to kind of know what you might be able to expect for your event coming up that month, or even 2 months from then.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yay. You're like, that's great. Thanks. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to stop talking now, and we're going to kick Stephanie off the screen, because we're going to bring on the star of our show. We got Lynn over here. A lot of you know her. She is our face of the chamber currently. There she is, smiling. All right, Lynn.
Hi.
Hi, welcome. Let me go ahead and get this up on screen for you. Let's see. And Lynn today is going to talk about committees. So as you can see from the screen, we have quite a few, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to her.
Great, thank you. I'm so glad to join in on this today. It's so exciting to be able to share the many things and many ways you can get involved in the chamber. And I'm just going to share a little bit about committees. They really are so valuable in helping our chamber grow and flourish. We have a smaller team. We're working really hard as things grow and change. Having other voices of our membership in with us is invaluable, because they help us focus on so many different aspects of business. I'm going to go over the list that you see in front of you in just a minute, but I want to just address generally what they do. They really help us to focus on specific needs and issues. When you join a committee, you usually do it because you love that aspect of the chamber. And when you enter it into that, you probably have a background or have been a part of something, or maybe just want to learn about that area. That's invaluable to us as a chamber because we can't be all things to all people. And we love when our members come along and help. As a group in each of those committees, they take the time to get to know their backgrounds, they get to know each other. They begin to look at different needs within that focus. Say they're on the membership committee. I'm just going to take an example. They look at who our membership is, how it's growing. We talk with our membership director. We find out what her needs are. And then as people's gifts and talents can be added to that group, we help flourish that part of the chamber. You know, that group really vets the problems that might be happening in that group. They might be able to come up with new and creative ways of solving those problems that we haven't even thought about. So it's so important to us. And then those special ideas can be brought to the staff and more importantly, brought to our board. Because, you know, our board works on so many behind the scenes issues and things that have to happen to keep us going, to keep us strong, and to keep us connected to the community. But these individual committees make such a difference in what we do. Since they're so focused, they can bring those ideas back to us as a staff and help us maybe rethink how something's been done for a long time. Our committees provide opportunities for individuals to network. What a great thing to come in and join the YPAD group. When I talk with people about YPAD, I always say, I can only look through the window. I get to press my nose up and look in because I'm over 40. But a lot of young people that come in and say, hey, how can I get involved in this thing called the chamber? The YPAD group is fabulous. They do great events every month. They really love that they can bring their expertise and their knowledge of their field to the chamber. It's fun, but it's also for a purpose. They're really teaching each other. And it is so fun because YPAD won't let Stephanie in either. She just wrote that as well. Yeah, we look in the window. But it's just a great group for them to come and to network and to work together and bring in the ideas of that particular YPAD group. Also, when people join members, they get to give back to the chamber and to the town. You know, many people can, as we've talked about, financially come along, or they can host because they own a property, or they own a restaurant, or they have something to give to that. Well, you know, giving time is just as important as giving money and a location, because you're coming with your expertise, your knowledge, and your ability to participate and come alongside. It takes a lot to get an event done for any one of these committees. It takes a lot to create a panel of speakers, to welcome, to come up with giveaways, to think through what will best enhance that certain section of our business community. And when you come and join one of those committees, it's just invaluable. And it's fun. We have a great time. We get to also make contacts for the future. When you join a committee, you also get to collaborate with new people. Perhaps your business and their business can work together. And so that's an invaluable way of doing it. And who doesn't want to be a part of our community? Joining the chamber, it's a big, huge group of people. We overload you with information. But when you take a moment to maybe join one committee, you get to see and be a little bit more laser focused on what they're doing. You get to bring your talent in. And you know, we see so many people rise up in their leadership skills that it's a great pipeline for our board. You know, to be a part of something in a smaller committee group and then grow into a bigger group and then onto the board, it's invaluable for us, because then we have not only your ability, but we have your heart. You become part of the chamber family. You see what it takes from behind the scenes to get things done. And you get to grow. And it's a great thing on your own resume. It's a great thing in your own LinkedIn profile to say that you're a part of these committees. Just personally for myself, I came in under a nonprofit organization when I first came into the chamber, and I started going to some of the women's events. I had been in leadership skills before and leadership groups before, and I really wanted to lend my abilities to that group and to the women in the group and the different activities I joined. And so I joined the programming committee, and I worked with Focus on Women. And then eventually I moved myself onto the nonprofit committee, and it was wonderful for me. I made lifelong friends. As I got into those committees, I joined leadership, and then I made continued lifelong friends. And eventually down the line, I actually found a seat as a staff member. So for me, it was an incredible opportunity to grow, to gain new friends, to be a part of a committee group, and to learn about our town. So if you're thinking about joining a committee, do it. Do it, do it, do it. There's no better way than to jump in and be a part of this great town and give your time and your leadership and your manpower. Let's go back and look at that list, and maybe we can go over each one and just talk a little bit about the different committees. Would that be good?
Sure.
Okay. So let's just look at the list. Advocacy and Government Affairs. That's a monthly group that meets. And right now it's a Zoom group, and it deals with all the issues going on both in our town, in our county, and sometimes even on the state level. We have a lot of visitors. It's got some great information. David Beal, one of our board members, leads it. If you're interested in advocacy and government affairs, just reach out to us at the chamber. We'll connect you, but it might be a place for you to plug in. Education. We have a wonderful relationship with our education committee. They don't sit in the chamber, but they're one of our partners. It's led by Jim Chard, and they look at all the issues going on in our education in the city, in our town, elementary, middle, and high school. Might be something that you want to jump in. Maybe you've been a teacher. Maybe you've been a tutor. Maybe you've been an author. Who knows? But it might be a great place to plug in. Membership. I talked about that earlier, but bringing new people into the chamber takes time and energy. And we always love to have more people join us in that vision. When you can share what you've experienced and how the chamber has changed you because of your membership, it's invaluable for us. Programming. We've got great programs. COVID has kind of put some things on hold, but little by little, we see things coming back. It's a great way to get involved with the creative side of that. And for programming and marketing, we have a board member. Her name is Kristen. She definitely knows her field, and she leads that group with Angel. They'd love to have a few people join in. That meets quarterly. The membership group meets monthly. Education, I believe, meets monthly. Then we look at the different roundtables. We have health and wellness, which met today. They're going to be probably meeting monthly until they turn into quarterly. And that is just what it says. It's about health and wellness, alternative medicine. There's some great people to meet in there. The hospitality and tourism roundtable, Stephanie kind of takes the lead on that. That's her background. What a cool thing to jump into and learn about what's happening in our town, why we bring people to town, how we get those heads in beds, what's happening in the hotels. I've sat in on several of them. They're fabulous meetings. And so that would give you an insight into what's going on in hospitality and tourism. Our restaurant roundtable, brand new to us. We saw the value in what John Brewer was doing with the socially distanced supper club. And so he came on board with us and said, let's do a roundtable for our restaurants. Let's talk to them and help them. If you're in any way connected in that world, jump in, get involved. And the real estate roundtable. We have many real estate agents that are part of the chamber. They all join in quarterly for that roundtable with Christina Morrison. Great information about what's happening out in the field, what's happening in the market, commercially and in residential, a great way to jump in. So you can see the variety, it just keeps growing. We could use your help. Okay, I think you have questions for me.
Oh, yes, I'm here. We have questions for you. I was so enthralled by your story earlier that I wanted to jump in and start talking with you. I forgot that you had other things to talk about.
No worries. Pop in anytime.
So I love the fact that you have the perspective of, obviously not only being a staff member here at the chamber, but having been on a committee, having been in the throes of participating. And something I want to talk a little bit about before I jump into the questions. I love that you mentioned time. I love that you mentioned that that's what we need to give back. And I don't know if everybody knows this, but we're quite a small staff here. So our committees are how we help get things done. I know that my YPAD committee is so involved. I'm so proud of them. We meet once a month, and whatever it is that I need for them to do, they take little chunks off and then they accomplish it. And that's really how we get things done, by dividing things up into a very measurable amount. And then we're able to produce a quality, whether it be event or roundtable or just overall experience for our members. The committee is kind of like the backbone for us. It's what helps us get through, whether weekly, monthly, or yearly, because we need those extra helping hands. So Lynn, how many meetings do I have to attend before I become a Midi member? I mean, you said that they meet every month, the committee members. So how many do I have to attend?
Well, I think it varies from group to group, but generally 3 meetings will give you a good understanding of what's happening in that group. It probably wouldn't be smart to jump in earlier, because you're committing your time and we'll need your time. And so it would be smart to see kind of what happens. I want to speak to the nonprofit group. I help liaison that group from here at the chamber. And without our committee, it just wouldn't happen. We just wouldn't have the manpower to do it. And these ladies and gentlemen in the nonprofit world, they know the heartbeat of the nonprofits. They know how to speak the language. And so we lean very heavily on them. What are the issues? What do we share? How do we teach? I think we do that with each of the committees. We really lend to those that come out of those industries to help us with those. But I would say go to several. If it's the heartbeat of yours, you'll know within 3 or 4 of them.
Absolutely. I love how you said too, I liaison the nonprofit. I was like, my YPAD committee, there's a staff member assigned to each of these, and they essentially become our babies. We love them. We want to see them thrive. So we want to see a good team on there, because when there's a good team, everybody is happy all around. So if I'm interested in joining the committee, Lynn, how do I know which one is right for me? Like how would I know which one to choose? Because again, I saw several options on there.
Well, I think first off, you have to look at your schedule. You have to look at when it meets, how often it meets. Ask questions, write them down. Just like when you go to a doctor or you go to someone and you have questions about what a procedure is or what takes place, make sure you ask the right questions, because some groups meet less times a year, may not have as much demand, whereas other groups meet monthly and there would be more of a demand. And it could either been to your benefit or not. So definitely look at your schedule and talk to the chair, because we liaison, but there's always a chair for that group. And that chairperson would give you a clearer vision of what we do, or maybe just what hole is in that committee. Many of them break down like a leads group or other groups to say, hey, I need someone who does our emails, or I need someone who would contact a vendor, or I need someone who would go out and maybe get some giveaways. Smart to talk to that leader to see if that would fit your schedule for your business and for your family. And like you said earlier, which I totally agree, there's groups that like the morning and groups that like the evening. And so you kind of have to know where these different committees meet and what the program entails. So check it out.
Do you think that it would be okay if I attended as a guest, maybe not even maybe for a couple, to see which one fit better
Yes,
for me?
absolutely. To the meeting itself, to the committee meeting?
Yes,
Yes,
just to see what they
yes.
talk about, see if there's anything
Oh,
I can contribute.
you have to. You have to come in and sit in and check it out. You know, we have an ambassador group that is an invitation group. You have to be invited to it, but we invite people to sit in and to listen just to understand what we do and what the demands are. Well, that would be the same for the committee. Just that you can reach out and ask that chairperson, can I come? Can I just sit in and see what you all do and see if it's a right fit for me and if my skills, time, talents would work for that group?
Right. And you at the chamber or somebody at the chamber can help me, right? Make that connection, make that introduction.
Absolutely. You know, I'm at the chamber every day from 9 until 2. You can call me, you can drop in, you can sit with me. We socially distance, but we definitely meet. And I love to talk about this because we have seen here at the chamber every group and committee in action. We know we've probably visited everyone. I know that I've probably been a part of just about all of them, be it that I've gone to an event or I've sat in a committee meeting. So we can definitely speak to that. If it's kind of uncomfortable to contact the chair who you may not know, talk to us.
Yeah.
I am an open book. Love to talk about it all. Love to help you think through what would work and what wouldn't.
Awesome. That's great to know. So, okay. So now I'm thinking towards the future. I'm a committee member now. I'm full blown. I've found my group. I'm happy. I'm ready to contribute. What if I have a scheduling conflict and I miss a meeting? What happens?
You know, it's like any group. You can't, things happen, life happens. It's important to keep in touch with your chair. You wouldn't just not show up, just like you wouldn't just not show up for work or for an important event with a family. I think you know, you take that responsibility seriously and you would stay in communication with your chair and let them know, hey, I can be in this event or I can be at that meeting, but I'm going to miss another one. We like to know that because we couldn't run our groups otherwise. So we would really appreciate just the constant communication via email, a text, phone call. Each group does it different and they will let you know, but it's fun. Life happens. We have to, you know, you're volunteering. We are so thankful for our volunteers and we understand that this is above and beyond what you do in your life. And so right off the bat, we say thank you. We say, come and join us. Yes, try to be as committed as possible, but we live life and we're going to do that together. We're going to live it together and support each other.
Wonderful. That's awesome. So again, guys, if you're interested in joining a committee, please pop on by, have a chat with us. We always like to welcome more people to sit with us. We, you know, collectively as a brain, we love to hear and see what we can do to put forward and into action. And maybe even just something that we already have going on, you can help us fulfill it really to its maximum quality. So that's really exciting. Lynn, I'm actually going to keep you on camera while I bring Stephanie back on, just so she doesn't have to be alone. She's been alone here a little bit. And we're going to talk about website advertisements.
Hi, guys.
Hi, welcome.
I'm back. I was lonely, but thank you. Very proud of you both being such great team members on the chamber. It is obvious that you really care about this organization and the members. That's so clear. So I just love having you on the team. That's great.
Oh, it's lovely to have my boss on these.
And
All
we
right,
love the chamber.
Before they run away, before we lose our hour, because I mean, we're almost there. We're at
We've been talking
almost an hour. Yes, we're almost there. So we don't want to lose you guys. So let's talk a little bit about website advertisements. This is something you might not have seen really recently, but it's something we're super, super excited to chat with you about. So we're going to let Stephanie kind of divulge into this a little bit.
So we during COVID, we revamped our website, you know, in our spare time that we didn't have. But it's a brand new website and it looks fantastic. And we do have advertising space on the landing page and on other pages down further into the website. We haven't offered them to be available for advertising yet. We've utilized them just to get some type of metrics with our annual sponsors. So you've got Center State Bank and Cranes Beach House on there, and we've got some metrics now and we know where we stand. So we're developing packages now if you would like to advertise on that website. So if you know a little bit about digital marketing, if you're looking for Delray Beach, the very first thing that's going to come up on Google is delraybeach.com, which is the Chamber's website. So it's absolutely fantastic in terms of visibility and search engine optimization, which we're always working on. So if you're interested in advertising, we're developing packages now, 1 month or 3 month packages. Just contact me. It's simmelman@delraybeach.com, and we'll get you situated on that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Sorry, I was checking our Facebook comments. People are commenting that they love YPAD and it's such a fun group. So that's why I'm smirking over here like a Cheshire cat. So I actually have a question for you because I saw a website on there, delraybeach.com. That's the URL link. Is my option to just be on delraybeach.com?
We also actually have another website that people probably don't know about because we haven't been promoting it, but we will be soon. It's visitdelraybeach.org. So the chamber inherited that site, and at the last city commission meeting, the commission said we want to start working more in tourism. We need to start getting people back. So we're going to be updating that website too, and that one has links to visit Florida and discover the Palm Beaches and other tourism websites that funnel traffic there. So if you're interested specifically in tourism, which would be hoteliers, restaurants, attractions, especially, you might want to advertise on visitdelraybeach.org. So we're going to be updating that one soon. And there's also going to be packages available for that. So thanks for reminding me. Good question.
Wonderful. I'm super excited to see the details of the packages. I'm sure that we could probably do a whole webinar in itself for that.
I plan to.
So
Don't worry.
I might be inviting you back, Stephanie.
You're going to be advertising our advertising packages. Don't worry. So that's what my old boss, when I worked for Continental Airlines, he saw me in Delray Beach, on PR or something like that we were doing. He goes, "That's my girl, marketing the marketing campaign." I'm like, "You're right about that."
I love that. Advertising our advertising. That is great. Oh my God, that's going to be a really funny little slogan. All right. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie and Lynn. Thank you so much for joining today. I love when we can do a collaborative team effort. It adds a little bit to the interest, and it also lets everybody know that we're here for you guys. There's not just one of us, but there's 5 of us who are happy to help. So whether it's Stephanie, Lynn, Carolina, or Lorraine, a lot of you know her. She's in our finance department. We are here to help, and we're here to answer questions. And we look forward to our next part of the series. So keep an eye out for that. You can register online at delraybeach.com/events. And again, please note, these webinars are recorded. You can find them on Facebook, YouTube, and our chamber website page. Please share them with anybody that you think might need some knowledge. All right. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.